Okay, hello and welcome. This is the Pride Month. I'm wishing all of you happy Pride Month. I'm dressed up in the colors of the Pride Month, and my guest today is not dressed up in the colors. Very bad, Paras. Why?
Chaiti Narula, I have the pride colors in my heart, but you're representing enough for the both of us. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Overcompensating. Now I'm going to give our viewers about who Paras is. Paras is a very well-known person. Whether you watch TV, whether you're on social media, whether you buy products, he's an entrepreneur as well, but mainly he is an LGBTQIA activist, and he's my friend for 20 years now, or probably more than that, Paras?
Probably more than that. We've suffered each other for way longer.
Way long. We've suffered each other for way long. And today we're going to be talking about rights when it comes to the LGBTQIA community. And this is a show specially going out to all of you, all love. And I just want to start off today by saying that Paras is someone who holds this issue very close to our heart. Paras, you know, we've come a long way since we were kids to today in terms of this entire movement. Oh my God. I still remember when we were kids and we used to log into our Facebook. We used to keep our Facebook open with the password punched in, and some guy in school or college used to come there and just put on the status, "Hey, I'm gay," post it, and then used to get trolled on Facebook by all your classmates. And that used to be ha ha, hoo hoo, hee hee for all of us at that point of time. And look at today, how discerning we are. Look at today, how Gen Z is so discerning. I just feel that the right kind of importance has been given to this movement and to the people who belong to this fraternity.
That's actually true, because today, imagine someone putting this out as a status, say, "Hey, I'm gay, I'm bisexual." You know, the comments which will be there will be, "I'm so proud of you, this is incredible, you're speaking your truth." The comments which will be there today for someone who says, "I'm gay and bisexual," will be just a whole overwhelming amount of support.
Yes.
And that itself shows you how much time has changed.
Yes, times have changed indeed. And what would you say the reason for this change has been? Has it been literacy? Has it been the laws? Has it been the West influencing us? Because, you know, I think we in India, we come from the land of Kama Sutra and Khajuraho and I don't know, you know, erotica, where we saw all of this. All of this was very normal in our country. And it happened to us all of a sudden. So now, ever since 2018, do you think this awareness has increased more after 377 was dropped?
You know, the moment 377 was dropped, what first went was the fear. Why did people not say they were gay and bisexual? There was fear that they could actually literally be arrested because it was, you know, there was legal issue. Why was there fear? Because when you said, "Hey, the constitution of this country is calling you a criminal," then by every single aspiration or whatever, you were someone who was breaking the law, right? The moment 377 was repealed, I think for a lot of people who were sort of waiting for that last straw to happen, where they say, "Hey man, if the government now recognizes this, who are you to pass a judgment?" I think so. The actual thing is, yes, the legality came into play, but the fact that the fear went off, and the fear was, you know, replaced by actually celebration. And, you know, even that, I remember when the judge had given out that in the verdict, and she said, "Hey, you know, the country owes an apology to people from the LGBT community." These are big statements. That's what did it.
No, you said the fear went off, but you know, I know you for so many years now, and you've come out of the closet. You enjoy being with men. You've been open about it. Was there fear when, you know, growing up all these years before 2018, you used to either have sex with the men, have sexual encounters, experiment with people from different genders? How was it like? Were you fearful at any point?
You know, the beautiful part about our conversation is the fact that we're so close. We've known each other for 20 years. So it'll be very easy for me to actually put this in perspective for someone else. Okay, now imagine this. Today, the girls I fall in love with and girls I'm in a relationship with, they also know I'm bi, so that's never a problem. Someone like you, I've known you for years. I've always had a huge crush on you. You're aware of that. I've tried to always sort of let you know that nicely. But the fact is, at that point, it was never about how I was feeling. I think I never gave other people enough credit. So in my head, if I had a crush on this beautiful girl, say that's you, all right? My assumption was, if she finds out I'm also into men, she's going to not like it. So I never gave other people that credit. So I think what's really changed is the fact that a lot of acceptability actually is coming from our own selves. That today when I say it, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's how I swing. So I don't think that other people may or may not like it. I think the change actually came from within the community, because now we feel like now we don't have to hold ourselves back. We will not be arrested. You know, it's really as simple as this. Years ago, I think the homosexual people would hide. Today, the homophobic people hide. So people who really still actively hate the LGBT YouTube commentary, they don't say it because they realize it's so politically incorrect, and that's the change.
No, so one is about the fear, the other one is about the social connotation as well. So today, Paras, I know you actively like men. You want to have sex with a man. You enjoy the passion with a man. Tomorrow, if you have to get married, probably you'd marry a man, but you might also date a woman. You might also want to be with her. Are women willing to hear this part? Are they open to listening to the fact that you enjoy men, you enjoy women, and you respect them in their space, but you personally would prefer to spend the rest of your life with a man?
So yes, so I think, so this is the interesting part. All the boys I'm romantically involved with always know the women I'm also sexually associated with or romantically associated with. Until recently, that was not the other way around as well. But now, today when I'm dating a girl, I had a huge holiday romance last year for about 3.5, 4 months. I met this girl where I was in love with her and she was incredible. The narrative changed because there was a very good looking boy who also walked into that frame and I got so confused. And it was an open relationship.
It was good looking.
That also, but I was talking with this guy who came who was good looking.
I thought you were like, I was like, this is this good looking guy that's me who just walked in there. I said, what?
So I was dating this girl and this boy walked in and I had to fish for this one. And this boy walked in and suddenly I think it made me realize how I am, when you also say you're bisexual, and let's be real about this. A lot of people I think still claim to be bisexual when they may not be bi, when they may be gay. I think somewhere they feel like it's like one step, safer to just say I'm bi as opposed to say I'm gay. In my case, it was never the case. But somewhere you also say, hey, maybe I am more sort of, interested in one gender than the other. This particular case told me that all the women I'm associated with today don't seem to care as long as I'm loyal. And that has never been my problem. Whether you're gay, straight, bi, fidelity is a whole different aspect. And that I've never had problems with, right? So for me, it's become easier today because I don't have to hide this from men, women, sexual partners, romantic partners, friends, parents, colleagues. And here's the other part, which almost is a chip on your shoulder today. Today, if I say if I'm gay, everyone is like, dude, you're so awesome. People don't get the same reaction by saying I'm straight.
Yeah.
This is a great time in history to really be out and proud. And what an incredible journey.
It is incredible. And I'm very proud. I love my friends who are gay and they've come out of the closet. They openly parade their boyfriends around or girlfriends around. They openly talk to their parents about it. It's so refreshing. It's so nice. But there are still families, Paras. We are talking about that urban, elitist, literate class where the parents are still in acceptance and can have a dinner time conversation about it. There are many who are still shunning away. They don't want to talk about it. They would rather be in denial than know that their child is gay.
So in my very...
literacy is still tier 2, tier 3, rural India. We're not there yet.
So you're going to find this fascinating, okay? And I travel extensively through India. Now I travel to a lot of small towns because business takes me there. And this is my personal experience. I'm going to do that line again. There was a country. This is my personal experience because, and this is only my own, I have actually found that small town India is more open about sexuality than the cities are.
You're
why?
Me. Why?
No, because they don't want to label themselves. It's perfectly okay for two guys
because
saying,
they don't want to?
They're not in a hurry to label it. Right. So what happens is when two guys are doing their own stuff, nobody questions it, even though they're very well aware of what's actually happening. But nobody will ever call it.
They talk about it.
They talk about it. There are people who would say that, I'm discovering this with my friend or whatever. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to try and hide some details, but I was in a very conservative town up north. And we were shooting at this one particular college, which is a women's college. Okay. And all these girls, and we'd become friends, they said most of their sexual encounters are always same sex because it's such a conservative town. These girls can't go out and meet other boys. But what's completely okay is for them to be with other girls.
Yeah.
In small town India, when they're with boys, a lot of them, and this is my experience, no, I'm not saying that's generally the case, but a lot of them actually have their first sort of sexual encounters, which end up being homosexual encounters. Yeah, because it's easier, it's simpler, and it's not a taboo. So it's like, they all do it. And it's my dad, my father, you know him, he's a captain in the Indian Navy. When I first told him when I was 17.
He's a rock star. I've met him. He's a rock star. I love him.
He's a rock star. And
Tomar.
I will say hello to Papa Tomu. Papa Tomu, yeah.
Yes.
So he would always say, even in the Navy, in the armed forces, you know, like the US armed forces for the longest time had a don't ask, don't tell policy. That's not been the case in India, right? But he was so aware of how it was sort of playing out and what was really happening. It was never a surprise to him. But what I love about him and his Postmates is, you know, even when people call and say, "Yaar, tera beta shaadi nahi kar raha, kya chakkar hai?" And you know, they want to try and gossip. Say, "Oh, maine suna he's bisexual or he's gay." My father will actually, just to sort of turn the tides around, will say stuff like, "तुम्हारा कोई अच्छा good looking लड़का है तो बता देना, हम उन दोनों की शादी करा देंगे."
Fantastic answer. Fantastic.
So what?
Kudos to Papa Tomar for this.
He's incredible. And I always say this.
What is
because
incredible, Paris, is that you have a parent who accepts, you know, your sexuality, accepts that, you know, you are a certain way and that's who you are, and is in total acceptance and loves you for it. There are many parents who are still not in acceptance. And I mean, I'm not going to take names over here, but I have so many friends who are not being able to tell their parents. So when they do, they are ostracized from their family.
No, it's as filmy as it sounds. They're really like, घर से बाहर निकाल देंगे, ये कर देंगे, वो कर देंगे. It's all true.
I know that it is.
किया है. You know, I think what's really changing now, and I always, so by the way, I take a lot of credit for this. A lot of the boys, so I normally date, even though I'm 37, 38, a lot of the boys actually like to date at 18, 19, 20. Right now, that generation, that age, I learn a lot from them because
younger ones, what's the reason?
But that's the same case even with me and women. Like whoever I'm dating, I will literally be that 40-year-old guy who's dating the 20-year-old guy.
Different conversation for a different day now.
So what I love about that generation is the fact that, you know, I think someone like when they see a template like mine and they realize that, hey, you're doing decently well with business, you're someone who's known. What is the biggest fear that people have? That, hey, if I come out, I will not be popular, people won't think I'm cool. All those things are being broken, right? What I actually learned from these Gen Z guys, which is incredible, is the fact that they are actually not hesitant to live in the moment. They're not hesitant to experiment. They're not hesitant to not worry about a label that we were. You know, I've had so many guys who probably made out with me once or twice and really would say stuff like, and I'm quoting, saying, "Bhai, ab main gay hu kya?" So the first, the bhai sort of throws you off, saying, "Brother, why were we making love?" If that was the case. And secondly, for a lot of people, I think, you know, they want to do these things, but we were in such a hurry in the millennial generation to put ourselves in a bracket that we would actually, if I actually didn't so publicly say that, hey, I'm bi and this and that, whatever, I probably actually, because I was equally attracted to women at one point, I probably would have got married and settled down by now. And we often joke about this, saying, today if I find a girl I want to marry her at the Bharat, all the Bharatis will be watching all my videos and I'm showing my hickeys and saying, oh, I met this blonde and I met this guy.
So cute.
You know, so those are prices you have to pay for it.
Of course.
Is there a very good looking journalist that, you know, I can sort of make some headlines with?
Offline, I will send you some videos and you can take it forward with them at that point of time. I'm going to keep putting you back to this show now because you're completely digressing. I know what's on your mind right now.
Chaiti is my Tinder now.
You evidently using this platform to fish and get a boyfriend for yourself.
Of course.
So no. Now, Paris, one more thing which is very important that we have to talk about is that Section 377 is dropped in our country. So, well, you've decriminalized this entire act. The problem is, and I have too many close friends who have chosen, 2 men, 2 women, they've chosen to go to another country, get married and come back and settle in India as husband and wife. Are we too far away from legalizing same-sex marriages in the country?
Call me an absolute romantic optimist, but I genuinely believe with the way our country is going, and I say this with a huge sense of pride, we don't give India enough credit. Okay, we are one of the handful of countries who recognizes the third gender. A lot of people don't give us credit for that. We're one of the handful of countries who have decriminalized this particular section. Every country has their own section, but homosexuality. Try going through Europe. We think Europe is so cool. They're not. A lot of European nations are deeply conservative. We know that the Middle East is like that. We know America has huge cases of hate crimes. You've got Australia. When we think of India, we think we're not there. But actually, this is a great time to be Indian and to be somebody who's part of the LGBTQ spectrum. Because what's actually happening is the fact that Pride is really being celebrated in India. You know, the Hijra community was part of the fabric of the Indian society. Yeah. This was the community which was part of every celebration. The Hijra community was part of us. The T in the LGBTQ only came in the 90s when they fought for them to be recognized as part of this. We didn't have to have that fight. So when you say civil union, I am an optimist. I really feel, don't be surprised if 10 years from today you get a card from me saying, Chaiti Narula, here's the guy I'm married. He's gorgeous. This is the villa and come.
I'm a cautious optimist. You may be very, very optimistic, but I'm cautiously optimistic because the team, the LGBTQ, that stands for transgender, today also faces discrimination when it comes to getting jobs in this country. They are not being taken at an even keel in society, and that's a huge problem still, Paras. So activists like you, what are you all doing about it? I mean,
you know, what you're saying is...
Outside for you making me your Tinder and having you find great men to date and have sex with, please tell me what you're doing about this also.
You know, it's so interesting. I just hosted the Kashish Film Festival. That's Southeast Asia's biggest, queer film festival. And what was interesting was the fact that, we never think about something as small as this, Chaiti. How do you start any show? Ladies and gentlemen, where are the non-binaries? Right there, you have disqualified their existence. And just small steps like that. Today when we are saying, hey, my pronouns are he, him, or she, her, or they, them. Those are the changes. And this is the sad. And I also want to be blunt about the fact that pink washing is also a whole different thing. We just make everyone from the LGBTQ community sound great. And hey, let's be real. Part of equality is to say that a gay, straight, bi guy could just be a good or bad human being, just like a straight guy.
Anybody, like anyone else, of course.
Anyone else.
Human as humans are. I mean, welcome humans. That's what we are. Yeah.
The trans community has such a hard time getting accepted even within the LGBTQ spectrum. Okay? They are literally shunned. The gay guys don't want to sleep with them, okay, and that's the thing. The bisexual guys don't want to sleep with them because bisexual guys want women. The trans people talk about the fact that they are never recognized. What people like us are now beginning to sort of try and do is, first you have to break away the stereotypes. In the 70s, 80s and 90s, when you thought about a gay guy, thanks to Bollywood, you only saw effeminate guys. When I'm traveling to small town India, do you know the most interesting kind of reactions I get from gay men? I'm a cisgender man. I identified with being male always. I've never had a gender identity. So people like me who wear a normal pant, shirt, all of us, a lot of the gay men in small towns say we never get representation because everyone just thinks if you're a gay guy, it only means you're someone who likes to cross dress. Right? That's still a stereotype.
And I think that Bollywood has had a very big role to play when it comes to
very big role.
This very big role.
That's why activists like me, when we made my first short film, which is a gay short film, we made sure the characters, we got a Filmfare nomination for that film actually. It was called Baby Steps. Okay. There's Soni Razan, Akshay Oberoi and me, and we were all playing characters which are just the way we are. Even my show that I did on one of these OTTs, when they asked me to play that gay character, the first thing I remember saying to the director was saying, I don't want to play into a stereotype. I don't want to be saying darling, honey, baby, and not that something is wrong with that. There are people who also talk like that. But also to say that's not the only representation of gay men.
Yeah.
So what's slowly changing is when you're seeing rugby players in the West suddenly going out and say, these big sort of butch manly guys who are coming out with their boyfriends. You've got one of the most celebrated journalists in the world who's openly gay. These are the people who make you suddenly realize that being gay also doesn't mean you have to have the inverted pink triangle or the LGBT flag on you all the time. Because the idea of activism is also a sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
I don't need to celebrate the fact that I sleep with 20-year-old boys every day.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
I don't need to.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And now these days, what I see within the Gen Z and the millennials especially is that there's this whole movement, and that started in America with the universities and stuff like that, with gender pronouns. And the gender pronouns, I do understand, they were launched with the entire intention of standing in solidarity with the LGBTQ community. And I understand this was for inclusivity. But there's an other side of the argument when it comes to gender pronouns as well. People like you and me, Paras, end up meeting 100 people a day on an average, or in a month, I beg your pardon, on an average. We barely remember people's names. Now to then remember their pronouns also, isn't that a little bit of a cancel culture? Are we headed towards that? Although I, myself in my social media profile had put she, her and whatever I identify myself with, and I completely respect gender pronouns, but it's very tough to remember people's name, leave alone their pronouns. Do you think this is cancel culture?
Yes. In fact, there are lots of people who, this is almost, it started with a very good intention. It started, I think, in a Boston University.
I agree with
you.
The intention is
But I think for a lot of people, they say, hey man, now this whole political correctness of somebody who's not from the community, when you meet people, you're almost walking on eggshells around people who come from the LGBTQ community, right? So I kind of agree with this, but at the same time, if someone tells you specifically, that's what I do. If someone specifically says, this is my pronoun, then I'll respect it. Otherwise, I think most people tend to be okay with what is kind of the obvious. That's also generalization, but unless someone sort of expressly states it to me, I don't really make the effort to get to know. But you know what's very weird?
I like the practical approach to it, though. I'm coming to that point in just a bit, what you were about to make, but I like this practical approach, because up until now, I used to say, okay, you know what, I love gender pronouns. I think it's so good to celebrate inclusivity through gender pronouns, and I see kids of my friends who are in colleges, and they're so sensitive about all of this, and it's beautiful. But the only thing was, hey, listen, how am I ever going to remember? Because it doesn't end with she, him, her. It's got like these weird. Please tell me some of them. Please tell me some of them.
It's only she, her, him, he, and them.
This is
and them.
Shish, them. With.
So a cisgender man, for example, so non-binary would be people who would be like trans. That would not be a pronoun. Yeah. The pronouns would only be he, him, she, her, they, them. Those are only three pronouns.
It's easy to know, but because I was reading about it, and there were just far more pronouns than just the ones that you ended up.
So for example, the other categories which are not pronouns would be binary, non-binary.
Correct.
Now that's different. So that's different. But actually, when you meet someone, it's only he, she, or they.
So I like your practical approach. So unless and until you're saying that somebody comes and says, "Hey, I'm this," and my gender pronoun is they, for example, then that's when I would refer to them.
And that's fine. I also feel like even for the LGBT community, it's very important not to be hypersensitive, right? So when you meet someone, and hey, we all make mistakes. If you meet someone who sort of just assumed your pronouns, just correct them and move on. And and I think...
but most people end up starting behaving like gender police. So most of the times when I'm in social situations, I'm standing in a corner in a very awkward way saying, oh my God, what if I just say the wrong pronoun? So
I know.
It's just very, very awkward sometimes, because
I understand.
Gen Zs, they walk around like gender police, and then somewhere you feel like, oh my God, I've offended somebody, and I don't want to offend because I am in solidarity.
That's not it. So may I say something which is, you're such a classic example of this. I feel the straight community, if you identify with that, is actually more respectful of pronouns, I feel, sometimes than the gay community. And we've had long discussions about this. Again, even as an activist, I always want to say that, hey, we're not all great. We also have problems within the community.
Yeah.
The people who I find very often don't respect people's pronouns are a lot of the people from the gay community who will say stuff like, ye to didi hai, ye to bhabhi hai, ye to auntie hai. You hear a lot of these conversations within the gay boy circles where they will just, when somebody says, even some things like, there's something called bottom shaming, okay? And I know a lot of this sounds like it's too much TMI, but bottom shaming is basically also when people who are in the spectrum of, the eggplant emoji and the peach emoji. Yes. The peach emoji would be the bottom shaming.
Correct.
Now, bottom shaming has been happening for such a long time for the simple reason that I don't know why. Within the spectrum, a lot of people keep doing that because they feel like they're lesser of human beings. I feel a lot of this, the cisgender men and women, I feel are more respectful of people in the community than sometimes from within the community, and that needs to change. Consent is another big word in the community people don't understand.
Correct.
Hey, if I want to make a move on you, Chaiti Narula, I will look for some sort of a signal. Why? Because that's how we've been conditioned.
Correct.
And consent should not be something which is only specific to one community. It should be with everyone. The same way with gay boys and gay girls. I feel sometimes they feel
to the argument that we're all humans, and those rules, of course, apply to all.
Everywhere. But within the gay community, they're like, hey, you're gay, I'm gay, I'm allowed to touch you wherever I want. That's happened so many times. Yeah, and that's happened so many times that people that's not called inappropriate touching. Here's the problem.
I'll tell you something. I've been to many LGBTQ parties, and just recently I was here at Kitty Sue in Delhi as well, and I just enjoy going to those parties because so many of my friends are gay, so many of them are bisexual, and they're just so much fun to hang around with, and their parties are great because you just keep dancing, and there are guys making out, there are girls making out with each other, they're holding each other. It's beautiful because it's an expression of love, and I always feel make love, not war, and it's just fantastic. And I lost my point, what I was about to say, but anyway, go on.
Well, when you're at these parties, the reason I think you're feeling so good is because you understand that everyone's giving you
what I was
attention.
going to say, because my mind wandered.
Did you have an instance where a girl sort of checked you out and said, "Hey, what's up?"
I was
Did you
talking
have?
about consent. Yes. I was talking about consent. So I beg to differ, because I'm a straight woman in those LGBTQ parties, and never has anyone made a move on me without my consent till date. And I've been to
That's
way
incredible.
too many of them. So why do you say that sometimes consent is missing in that fraternity?
So sometimes I feel, I mean, I can only speak for the boys because that's what I know. I feel very often when you're at parties, when you're at places, you know, if someone touched you inappropriately and you spoke about it, that would be a scandal. That would be a thing. That guy would be in trouble. See, I'm at a party and I'm with you and you're my friend, and I say, "Hey, Chaiti Narula, this guy is trying to grab my peach the whole time." For some reason, it's just not taken as seriously, okay? And it's not. But I think consent is an issue, because I've had instances where people just try to feel me up, and I'm very sort of like, "Hey man, you know, calm down, I don't want to do this." And when I started speaking about this openly is when a lot of men on social media, gay men on social media, came out and said 100% this is true, because even within the community, while we celebrate and we do things, this is how we're going to normalize the community, by saying we're just as good and bad as any other human being out there. We're equally sexually starved, where, you know, that's another myth where they feel like gay men are having more sex. I definitely am. I don't know about other gay men, but like on an average, it's not to say that gay men are having more sex than straight men. You know, there are lots of these stereotypes. There are lots of these stereotypes about the community. Like, for example, why is it that the gay community moved from the pink triangle to the rainbow? Because the pink triangle, which is a symbol of homosexuality,
Rainbow.
and rightly so, had become a symbol of pedophilia, of HIV, of all of these things that came with the gay community, and they wanted to break that. So we've had struggles.
I'm so happy you mentioned HIV. This is a good point to mention, because I had a huge fight with a doctor about 5 years ago, where he was a homeopath, and he turned around and he told me, "Why do you speak so much about gay rights? Why do you speak so much about lesbian rights or transgender rights and stuff like that?" Because, you know, it's a disease and we have homeopathic cure to it. And I said, "Are you kidding me? Are you even a doctor? What are you even saying?" You know, and they're like, no, these are the people spreading HIV. I said, "Are you kidding me?" But you know, now that mindset, if it exists in doctors, I don't think we've come such a long way as much as we think we have.
We definitely haven't, and especially a lot of these doctors, when they actually hold the LGBTQ community responsible for the rapid spread of AIDS. Okay, now what was their reasoning for it? Because you're not accountable, you have multiple partners. Also, safe sex, also to be fair, in the LGBTQ community only became big in the post-90s. It wasn't. The 70s, 80s, which anyways was the phase where everyone was just like on LSD and doing whatever they were doing across the world. It's only in the 90s that people realized, hey, HIV was hugely being sort of, found within the community. But I think it's so important for people like me to talk about this, because all of us, we go to the gym, we work at our diets, we're working to live a healthy life. We don't want our sex life to be the reason we die.
Yeah.
You know the number of times I've actually been stopped by a guy just to check if I am wearing protection, and I always am. But I love the fact that they're also doing it.
And
so this reputation, straight people, exactly.
We have people who indulge in risky sexual behavior even when they're straight. So why just blame that one community? Right?
Yeah, it's just that people, and so innocently so, my dad, Papa told me, it's incredible because that generation also didn't have as much information. I remember him really asking me one day, "But beta, nobody will get pregnant. Why do you have to wear a condom?" Because I was making a video about safe sex. So sometimes actually it's also just about, just innocent ignorance or blissful ignorance when they really don't know.
Thank God you spoke about pregnancy, because there's been a lot of people, and listen, I know there are a lot of people who are not of mine in your age bracket who are watching in this broadcast. Some of them probably are cringing as well. But we don't care. We really don't care, because you have to listen to this and get educated about it rather than sit there and cringe about this. This is Pride Month and we're going to be celebrating it. No matter whether you like it, whether you not like it, get with it. Many of these older generation people, for the lack of education, knowledge whatsoever, will turn around and say, "अरे शादी करते हो तो बच्चे तो होने चाहिए. अब 2 लड़के शादी कर लेंगे या 2 लड़कियां शादी कर लेंगी तो बच्चा कैसे होएगा?" Your response?
वंश चलाना बहुत जरूरी है, और वंश आगे कैसे बढ़ेगा अगर सब लोग गे और बाइसेक्सुअल हो जाएंगे. That is what
सब लोग
you
नहीं हो
always
रहे
hear. सब नहीं हो रहे. First of all, people make.
I've had people saying this is against procreation laws in India. India what?
First of all,
Indian people saying this to me. I mean, I've not heard of this when I've been in New York or anywhere else, but I've had uncles coming to me and saying this is against procreation.
This is against, yeah.
Ah.
First of all, I don't know why people think homosexuality is like a pyramid scheme. We're not trying to get more and more members into our cult. We don't get paid money. So when people make it sound like, more people will turn gay, more people are not turning gay. They're probably just like experimenting now, coming to terms with it. But of course, look, let's be real. Yeah, from a procreation perspective, yes, you're not going to have a child. If I want to have a child, I will sort of go the traditional way because you need a man and a woman to procreate from that perspective. And yeah, the biology of it all, there's nothing wrong with that because that's actually just actual fact. I've had this question, Papa Tomu, if he's still around, I don't know. Like, I'm sure he, the only sort of thing he has sometimes to say is the fact that, hey, but listen, I always saw you as with a child. I always saw myself being a parent. And in fact, you shouldn't be very surprised. In the next 1.5 months or so, I've been thinking about this for a long time. If you ever see a video from me saying, hey, I'm also looking for a woman who might be bisexual or gay, you don't want a marriage, but you want to make a baby and you're financially independent, I want to do this. I've been thinking about this for so long.
Wonderful. I think that child is going to be the luckiest child in the world because that child will have such open parents, will have such educated, discerning, woke parents that I'm very happy that you will bring that child into the world, and I'm sure you will make the child the citizen that she or he needs to be.
My paternal instinct is coming. I have goosebumps when you just saying it. It's incredible. But that's true. I mean, this is the one sad part about it is the fact that you can't have babies, because let's be real, if everyone else is allowed to have that biological instinct, as am I. People say stuff like, why can't you adopt? There's so many children. I'm like, hey, but if other people are allowed to have that instinct of wanting to have their own child, I'm allowed to have just the same rights, right? And if you adopt a child, that's incredible. That's beautiful.
And what's incredible that I see right now is that if you see movies on Netflix, Amazon Prime, any of these OTT platforms, you will see men making out with each other openly, women making out with each other openly. There is Indian content that is being made where Indian actors are embracing that and showing it to the world, whether in their personal lives they are straight or gay, doesn't matter. But they are open to doing this, and I see that transition happening. I wouldn't say that we've come a long way, but yes, it is happening. The change is coming, Paris.
Right now, it's actually a chip on the shoulder when an actor says, I've even played a gay role, because it's like you've really sort of gone out of your comfort zone and done something which is considered bold, right? I remember when I was doing a film, and that was one of the many films I've played gay characters in. I remember the director saying stuff like, hey, we should only cast gay actors for gay roles. And I remember jumping in and saying, actually, that's not true, because the whole point of being an actor is to act. We already have enough segregations. You don't, just like by that logic, you'll never hire a gay actor then to play a straight part. So don't get into that.
Correct.
Actors are actors, and they need to just play a part, So even though a lot of people say, the reason I say this is because people say this for the good intentions. Like, hey, we have to give the community work. And sometimes you also want to be like, no, not really, because we're not like, we don't need charity. It's not like that. We'll get parts because we're qualified for it and we're great at it. We'll audition. But I think sometimes what also happens, people say the greatest thing with great intention. And I always, the other thing with people say with great intention is, and this is so everyone, is no matter how you are, I will accept you. This is said with the most beautiful intention. And right there, the moment you say no matter how you are, but I'm not diseased, I'm not unwell, I'm not unstable. When you say no matter how you are, you're somehow making me feel like I'm not okay, and how incredible of you to accept me, right? So when I sort of
any favor by accepting me, bro.
I'll humbly recognize the reflection, because this is always coming from a good place. And when you sort of make them understand this, it's like, oh wait, so all my closest friends, I've always told them, never tell anyone, no matter how you are. What does that mean?
You're saying that it is the niyat, it is the intention that matters. Their intention is in the right place, and then conversations like this just give them an eye-opener to say, hey, I shouldn't have even said something of that nature.
When parents say stuff like
in the first place.
My dad used to say it. However my son is, I'm always going to support him. So I remember saying, wait, Papa, what do you mean however I am? Like, you mean gorgeous, successful, good looking, in shape?
Oh, now you call yourself good looking again. I knew you would say this at some point.
I had to be plugged in. So from this broadcast, I need a Tinder date, and I need a woman who wants to have a baby with me.
Absolutely. I'm going to find you all of that. But before I let you go, I want to talk about the Kama Sutra, and I want to talk about erotica in India. and all the older generation who upon all of this need to be reminded that this is, if you're talking about culture, if talking about society, this existed in Indian society, Indian culture very much so. Can you talk a little about that, Paras, before we go, let you go? And before I find the Tinder date, and what else am I supposed to find you?
The woman to have the child. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So the Hijra community, full respect to them. How deeply woven have they been with the fabric of Indian society? What festival has ever been considered complete without the Hijra community? This has been part of the fabric of this nation. We've celebrated them. All our gurujis, the dance masters, everyone that we've always seen, they came from a certain way of being, and we always celebrated this. Somewhere along the line, because we were influenced by the West, when the West said cannabis is a problem, we went and banned it. We had all of it legal. Then they said homosexuality is suddenly an issue, then we went and had a problem with it. Then they said white powder is anthrax, उन्होंने निकाल दिया rule, हमारे planes पे भी we can't take small, containers and stuff. So I think the thing about this community is the fact that I think the deeply woven fabric that we had was to celebrate. The Kama Sutra spoke explicitly about sex. There are actually, I don't know which mantras, I don't know the names, but there are actually mantras in ancient Indian literature that talk about men getting married to men. There are matrimonial mantras of that sort.
Right.
So this was all part of us. You've actually got interesting sculptures across the country, and there are interesting sculptures of men doing stuff with men. So we didn't just wake up yesterday and say, "Oh, it's so woke to be gay." That was not how it suddenly happened. We were always just having so much sex. Some made babies and some did not.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. Mera Bharat Mahan. This has been part of us. When we're celebrating so much of India, celebrate even India with pride.
Yeah, and talking about Pride, a very, very happy Pride month to everybody who's tuned in, everybody who's watching. Paras, would you like to wish them to?
Happy Pride Month, guys. I hope this particular broadcast gives you enough courage to go out and celebrate your life. Be incredible and be such an overachiever that when people talk about you, they don't just talk about your sexuality, because the sexuality is one part of it. Be an incredible human being and you'll get all the love you want.
And even if you're not an overachiever, it's fine. You don't have to be an overachiever. Don't listen to Paras. Just be proud of who you are. Accept who you are. Break the stereotypes. Get up and talk about who you are. Identify who you are and take pride in it. That is the most important part. And if society is judging, don't worry about it. We are here to support you. The media is here to support you, and these conversations are continuous and very important. Thank you, Paras. Thank you so much. And two things I'm not going to forget is finding you a woman to make babies with and finding you a man, because I'm your walking, talking Tinder now. Isn't it?
You are the best wingman ever. Lots of love and happy Pride Month. And thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much.
Bye. See you.
Bye.
See you.